Hey everybody, my name is Joshua Holmes, and this is the Peace Starts With Me movement, and we want to share the principles of peace with you, or as we like to say, the essence of truth. Now during this time, I want you to ask 3 fundamental questions. These are maybe life's most important questions, and certainly the questions that will help you with becoming a conduit for peace, will help you also to live your most fulfilling life. However, it's these questions that will also help the world. We believe that the world can experience peace, but it starts with the individual. The 3 questions are: first, who are you? Who are you really? It's a question of identity. It's more than just your name. It's more than just the background that you come from. It's more than just your victories, your accomplishments, or even your failures. Who are you? What is your identity? The second question is, where are you going? Where are you headed? And what are the guidelines upon which you've built your life? So you imagine a road, and if you have no clear directive, if you have no clear guideline, it's so easy to veer off the road and head in a completely opposite direction than where you had wished to end up. So, what is your direction? What is your principle? And what is the ideal that you're striving for? The third question, and it's a culmination of the previous 2, and that is, what is your purpose? If you were brought into this world for some reason, what is it that you are called to accomplish and do? What are you meant to leave behind? These are the 3 questions I want you to ask yourself as we're going through this. And through the essence of truth, these principles of peace, we will not just answer them, but also offer you an opportunity to begin a transformative journey of cultivating yourself to actually realizing them. At the end of this video, I'm going to share with you all a role model in my life. Someone who is a living embodiment of truly understanding their identity, living out according to a true principle, and fulfilling their purpose. Someone that has led me to also strive to do the same and arrive at where I'm at today, living an extremely fulfilled life and making an impact in this world. So let's begin with the first question. Who are you and what is your identity? And to answer this question, you actually have to search, not in your resultant reality, but in the causal reality. You have to peel back the internal layers of who you are and where you come from. It's a question of origin. It's actually a question of who is God. All right, God might be something new for you, and you may not necessarily believe in the God that is espoused by a particular religious dogma or idea, but let's just hypothesize that if God does exist, this absolute, eternal, unchanging, unique being who created the universe and created it with purpose and intention, if that kind of God exists, and then the principles in which we can derive from that creator's idea and reflect it from that creator would then impact our life, and we would live a better life, a more fulfilled life, a more impactful life, then maybe actually believing in God isn't so bad. In fact, I would say that it's necessary. But we need to be clear on who God is. We have to ask the question of the nature of God. If I want to understand who I am, then I need to understand who the Creator is that made me. So how do we know God's nature? Well, in Romans 1:20, St. Paul describes that the invisible, divine nature of God can be understood by what God has made. Albert Einstein says similarly, that he believes in a God in the orderly harmony of everything that exists. So we can understand that if you want to know the nature of an artist, you actually have to look at the artist's creation, their art, and then you can determine a sense of their character. Take Picasso, for example. In the early 1900s, his friend commits suicide. He falls into this dark space, and what does he begin to do? He starts to paint in blue. We call this his blue period. And during this time of 3 years or so, he just paints in this dark tinges of blue that are a reflection of the pain that he's experiencing, of his psychological state, his heart at the time. You can feel it through his paintings. Take this painting of the old guitarist. In this photo, you'll see sadness. You see this crippled old man who's obviously in pain. He's hurting. But you can also feel a sense of hope. He's holding on to the strings of these guitar for dear life almost. And so it's the same with Picasso. I can determine the nature of how Picasso was feeling. What is the character of Picasso at this time through the art? It's the same way with God. If I look at all things of creation, within time and matter and space, and I can derive fundamental characteristics of this beautiful painting that God has made in each and every one of us and all things in the universe, then I can determine the character of God, the nature of God. And fundamentally, what we can determine from everything in the universe is that God made this world in pairs. A pair system. So let me describe the first fundamental pair. The first is that everything in the universe was created with a pair of having an internal nature and an external form. Take human beings, for example. We have a mind, we have a heart, we have a soul, a spirit, however you may call it, but it's an invisible aspect to who we are. Something you cannot touch, taste, feel with your physical senses. And then I have my body, which you can perceive with your physical senses. So everything in the universe has this. Animals have an instinct or an animal mind, which is their internal nature. Plants have a plant mind, something that is guiding them to function as well. And you even see this on a particle level, a molecular level. These molecules and particles have a directive nature that is guiding them to actually formulate and revolve and connect with one another. We know that it's more than just the fact that they have physical natures. There's an internal aspect that is actually directing and guiding them to build this amazing thing that we have, that we call matter in this world. It's amazing. So that's the fundamental nature in all things. And so therefore, we can determine that God has the original internal nature and the original external form. The external form of God is all the energy in the universe. The internal nature of God is just like us. God has a heart. God has a mind. In other words, God has a personality. God can feel. God can think. And God is motivated. Motivated. Motivated by what? Well, motivated by the same things that we are. He has a heart, we have a heart, so we know that God is motivated to experience joy. God wants to experience joy in this world with us. And it's motivated by love, a desire to love. That's why God created in pairs in the first place, is that there can be no love if we are individual, if we are alone, if we are solo. There had to be pairs. This is the first pair system. The second builds on top of it, and that is that everything in the universe has masculine and feminine, or in the Orient, we say yang and yin. Everything. You remember this symbol, right? Everything in the world is composed of these fundamental natures. Everything either has this positive charge or a negative charge on a molecular level. Or animals and plants, stamen and pistil, male and female. For us, the masculine and feminine expression. And these things come together and allow us to multiply and take action. Everything in the universe has this fundamental characteristic. And so therefore, God must also have that character. God has a masculine expression, and then God has a feminine expression and identity. So when you add these two things together, that God has a heart and is motivated by his internal nature to seek joy through love, and that is expressed in a masculine way and a feminine way, we then realize that God is our heavenly parent. God is a parent. He's motivated by love, which means that God wants to have children, wants to love and be a part of a family. God is our parent. And it's not just a fatherly love, it's a motherly love. And so we can say that God is our heavenly parent. So like any parent, God's dream would be to be a part of a family. God's dream is one family. And that's our slogan here at Peace Starts With Me. So now let's answer the question. Who are you? What's your identity? If God is our heavenly parent, then you and I are simply children. We're children. We are children of the same parent, which makes you and I brother and sister. We're siblings. In other words, we are part of the same family, the same beautiful family that God wished to live with. And that changes everything. It changes everything. Some way we are related, we're connected, we're bonded. And so how I treat you matters. Think about the war in the world today, the chaos and the crisis and the exploitation of people. How could we do that to our own brother and to our own sister? Blood runs deep, and we are bound by blood by the same heavenly parent. That's the implication. On the other end, more just for you personally, the implication is that you are unconditionally loved by the truest of parents, by God. And so what anyone may say to you, whatever life may throw at you, cannot change that reality, that you are loved and you need to know it unconditionally loved, absolutely, uniquely, eternally, and unchangingly loved. And therefore, you are special, which means that what you do matters. How you live matters. And the guidelines by which you walk, they matter. The purpose that you realize, it matters. So I promise you I'd introduce you to someone that's special to me. And that person is Dr. Hak Ja Han Moon, and many call her the Mother of Peace. Over time, religious leaders have recognized her as being one of the few individuals in this world, or perhaps the only individual, who's truly striving to help all 8 billion people find their way to living the best life possible together with God. Her key point is very simple. God made us and created this family based on a system of pairs so that we would actually create something beautiful together with God. That she wants to make an offering back to God. So she declares herself, I am God's only begotten daughter. And that might be a challenging statement to you. And I hope through this journey that we're on together that we can share that and explore that more, and you can come to respect and understand it. But fundamentally, it's in the fruits of her effort. She is someone who knows her identity and is living out a clear principle and is striving to fulfill her purpose on this world, which is to help humanity come back to God and build God's family here on this earth. And she's special. She's amazing. She helped me and pulled me out of this place of darkness that I was in through her example, leading me to a point of being able to discover God for myself, of having unconditional love together with God. And I hope that that is something you can find through her as well. So we thank you. We are the Peace Starts With Me movement. God's dream is to have a family, and we're excited to be on this journey together with you and helping realize that dream. Thank you.